What I'm going to talk about today is something that we all have the pleasure of being around every day, garbage. And most of you probably know these situations from your house or from your school or from your office. It's really strange how recycling and garbage and waste and everything can lack creative thinking so much as they do today. If you take a look at this, what you think is that the waste handling or taking out the trash, it's just a burden, right? It's nothing fun with this. And I wonder why we hide these big recycling stations. We hide them behind the gas stations, supermarkets, or in this case, in an abandoned parking lot. If we think of these stations as our mobile phones, if our mobile phones were stinky and all greasy, and would you use them? No, you wouldn't. You would just throw it away, right? As we've done here. These places have full of backsides, places where you just want to drop off your garbage as soon as possible and then leave. For me, this is humans in a nutshell. We will always choose the easier way, even though it would probably go much faster to run up the stair. This is the route I have to my office every day. And amazingly, it looks like this every day. We will always choose the easier way, right? That's how we are. And today's recycling is built on the notion that we have to recycle, otherwise we're a bad person. But people are not going to recycle more just because we tell them to. This is a pretty fun picture. It's just taken a couple of meters from where we are right now. Somebody's having their lunch next to a garbage bin. And somehow we just settled with that this looks so bad and that we don't have to change it. We had it like this for I don't know how long. For as long as I can remember. So we need to take these boring big recycling stations that we hide away in dark places of the city and put them in the public room where we move every day, where they become part of our lives. They could, for instance, be these golden stations that I've been sketching on. The gold could symbolize the golden resource of renewable energy, and they could have a shape that eliminates backsides and that can adapt to many different places. And with the eggs get transported around town like this, the huge hen who just goes around with their eggs on the back, people would instantly recognize them, and people would maybe ask that they're visiting the town, what is this? What are these golden eggs going around? Then you could proudly say that in our town we look at recycling and waste as a gold, something that we can reuse, giving them an identity that sticks out and grabs your attention. Or, for instance, they could be interactive and educative. Kids could, for instance, get the information from them that if they recycle one aluminum can, they can keep their computer running for over 24 hours. And there's a lot of other ways to get the information to the kids, the future generation, that would understand that there's a connection between my recycling and my energy use. Or, for instance, they could show these statistics. So all over town you could have these big bars, and when I go up and do my recycling, they all start blinking red or something because I have so much good recycling during my days. I just recycled so much. So it becomes something you can be proud of. Different neighborhoods and friends can compete against each other, and turning it into a fun game that sparks your competitive side rather than your bad conscience as it is today. Then the statistics could be uploaded to some cloud in the sky, and that could be an instant reward system that gives you reward for your good deeds. It could highlight grassroots initiatives, turning your average Joe into the next Al Gore. Everybody loves getting attention for their hard work, right? And why are we not giving them that chance? They can also be connected directly from when I put in some cans to be recycled, they're instantly connected to my electrical bill or something like that, or my phone bill, for example, whatever. As long as we see it as a resource that has a value instead of something you just push away. It could light up dark places of the city. It could turn an abandoned parking lot into a magical place for kids. They could dream of these stations as the golden shimmering objects that they have in the backyard. Or they could have feelings, right? There could be one happy one to the right here. The one in the middle, he's not that impressed. He thinks we can do better. And the one on the right, he's really angry because we've done really good, really bad. For this example, these two young ladies, they try to recycle something that isn't allowed to recycle in that garbage bin, and then it instantly tells them that, stop, what are you doing? So people that are walking by could see that these two guys that try to get away with something bad, right? And that way of communicating with our everyday life stuff is so important to make it more approachable for us. We need to turn recycling into something that we feel comfortable to be around. So when we've done good, these could light up in different green colors, so that there's a visual connection when we walk around town, that this part we're doing good. We get somewhat of a answer back from them that we've done a good thing, right? And these are just some ideas. We could involve the whole town in doing this. We could turn the whole town into a festival for creative solutions. We could divide the capital of Sweden, for example, up in all the different parts, and you let a design team together with the local community in that neighborhood design their take with unique solutions on recycling, on how they recycle. Just from one town, we can get hundreds of new ideas that could be spread throughout the world. This is me throwing out my trash on national television, because the first example that I showed you, it was with the golden eggs. Swedish public television did a segment on it, and they aired it during Easter. So you can imagine how many people thought it was fun that my eggs of trash looked like big chicken eggs. But that's fine. Met one of my neighbors. He asked me if it was an April Fool's joke, and he just laughed. But I thought that was fun, because I could get them to laugh. I got their attention, right? And humor is a very powerful thing. It can break down the barrier that today stands between us and our waste. Let me give you an example. Since you heard before, I'm an architect. If you look at the kitchen, back in the day, it was considered a room which you didn't show anyone. You weren't proud of it, you hide it away, and you didn't bring your guests there. If you look at the kitchen today, it's the first room where you bring your guests. It's the room where you spend most times with friends and family. It's a completely new way of thinking. Turn the kitchen into something else. The social hub of the home. I stumbled upon this example in the Gothenburg archipelago in a small fishing town called Mollösund. These circles, they have a function. They tell the garbage men on which weeks they should pick up the different containers. But what I thought was fantastic with this, that it put some kind of personality into these very generic garbage containers. It made me smile, and it made them much more fun to look at, right? So if you're not an app developer with $1 million in your bag, you could at least print out some stickers, right, and make them more fun. There's so much stuff we can do, and we haven't done it, right? It's amazing. This is a picture also very close to here. Somebody is imprisoning their garbage bins. It's quite amazing, right? So I dream of a future where we no longer look at recycling as a burden that we just like to get rid of or hide away. This is also in Lund, you don't like to go far to get all these bad examples. Somebody just cut down their hedge and then push them in there, so that it would blend in seamlessly. So I dream of a future where recycling is a well integrated system in our cities and lives, a treasured resource. Something that we feel proud of, something that we think creatively of how we can make them better. And maybe even one day we will have this good relations with our recycling stations, so when we walk down the street, we become really good friends. I hope that inspired you all to do different and do something that we can change this, right? Thank you very much for listening.